Eagles have made some moves in the offseason. The last couple of years, they've done some crazy things. It's almost like Andy Reid's trying to make up for mistakes or something out there. I don't know, or cover up, or I don't know, protect his own tail maybe. Fires the defensive coordinator.
Considerable tail.
Sean McDermott. Now, I was for this move. I said to you last week this is something they should have done. Obviously, I've got Andy Reid's ear. I've got a hotline to him.
You do.
McDermott's gone. Also, a day later, they fired the defensive line coach, Roy Seacrest, who, quite frankly, I don't know what this guy did to get his job. Must have had pictures on Andy Reid and a G-string or something. Because first, Seacrest gets a job for 2 years as a special teams coach, and they were horrible. And then he gets bumped over to defensive line coach, and they haven't shown anything there either. So he's out. What do you think of these moves, Mike?
Well, I'm a little surprised because they are sort of on Andy Reid-like, kind of what you're alluding to, I think. I'm surprised that they did it. I'm not sure how big a deal it is. I sort of mentioned this last week. We have talked about this a number of times on the show where they're making this transition to being a young team again, and I think they've done a remarkably good job of that. And in general, but there's no question that they need some more players on defense. On defense, they've some of the drafting has not worked out great, and they need more players. And it'll be interesting to see if they go into the free agent market this offseason and try to get some. I think that's much more important than Sean McDermott. I think you feel a little more strongly about this than I do, Starkey. So I feel like I should. Let you go here and turn you loose.
Go tell it on the mountain. I think you're right. The cornerback situation, there's a very good one out there with the Raiders. There's a few other cornerbacks that when you put them with Asante Samuel could be really good. When was the last time Andy Reid drafted a defensive player that's been any good? Maybe Trent Cole. But other than that, the job.
Well, there's no doubt Trent Cole. I mean, Trent Cole.
At the end of a year, he fades. 3 years.
He did, and that's partly because he's smaller guy, and that's the philosophy. You're right. You're right.
Brian Dawkins. You go through the guys. Trotter. You go through the guys that they were all there, drafted before Andy Reid got there, or brought in before Andy Reid. So he has not had a great track record of bringing in guys successfully. Even Javon Curse was a free agent that only had one good year here. I think he's covering up mistakes. We're getting to the point like McNabb last year where we've seen the best that McNabb can offer you. I think we've seen the best that Andy Reid can offer you, and it may be time for a coaching change altogether.
Well, I mean, we've seen the best that McNabb can offer because he's not there. He's not what he used to be physically. I mean,
he wasn't going to get any better. You weren't coaching him and making him any better, and he wasn't trying to get any better. It was the same thing. All the balls thrown low. He wasn't improving his game. I'm not.
Well, so Andy Reid made what I thought was the excellent coaching move to dump him to somebody in your division, and now we have a Pro Bowl quarterback.
But Andy Reid is making the same mistakes over and over again. Clock management, timeouts, not using.
He has issues in that area. There's no question about that.
Not using the challenge flag correctly. There's all these kind of issues that I think are building where. Would you be smart to go get a Mike Tomlin type of young coach? Look what he's done with Pittsburgh year in and year out.
Well, that's kind of what Andy Reid was when they hired him. I mean, he was kind of a young assistant who had been a part of a really successful program.
He can give you. He hasn't taken any further.
Maybe, but I mean, I think you're rolling the dice to assume that somebody else could give you more. But anyway, one thing I want to point out though about the offseason. This cornerback for the Raiders, for the Oakland Raiders, so I can't even pronounce his name.
I didn't try to pronounce it.
He's a very, very good player. He's going to cost a lot of money. He's maybe the biggest free agent out there. But we see now, particularly if you look at the Packers and the Jets, you see what you can do as a defense if you have two corners who can cover, and you can kind of leave that responsibility to them, and you could do all kinds of other things with your linebackers and your coverages and your blitzes and so on and so forth. Where you see the value of that, that would be the number one priority, I think, for the Eagles, is to get a major league corner.
I agree.